That shit,
I can't have that.
that shit was funny.
No.
I
don't know who's going to listen to this.
Hopefully the world.
Hopefully the world.
Hopefully the world.
I don't want, if the world's listening to this, I don't know.
Well, I mean, welcome to the first interview of Built Different.
While he was
I wanted to start something here to give people learning experiences, real people. This is one of my good friends, Zack Pascarella. He owns Wiseowl Wood Company, and actually, somebody told me earlier it was 3 years. When? Tomorrow?
3 years tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So 3 years tomorrow, which is a huge accomplishment because not everybody gets to 3 years starting a business. Not everyone gets to 1 year, honestly.
Yeah.
So what is Wiseowl? You're going to explain it. What is Wiseowl?
So when I describe Wiseowl now is, it's a business that's divided, but I'd say it's a luxury furniture company and high-end commercial interior design and build-outs. Essentially, I build high-end furniture, but you could also call me to design and do a build-out in like a restaurant, a bank, a office building, whatever it may be.
Whatever they're feeling, all custom.
Yeah, or even a home. You know, I do some residential, but besides the furniture, I've been, as far as build-outs go, I've been progressively getting more and more into commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was you said you were doing one last week. What was that one? You had to finish it by, I think it was Friday because you left for...
So that was, before Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a accent wall and a custom console table for Duville College. So that's one of my biggest...
for Duville.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest clients. They're back to back with me. They've got me really blessed. I'm booked out for like another year with them. Yeah, typically like when I finish a project, they hand me designs or concepts for the next, and I do my magic, get approved, and then I just start building again. And what's cool is in between those jobs, whether it be me working with architects or getting site plans approved or budgets approved or whatever, I fill in all those gaps with miscellaneous jobs too. So like if I know, for instance, like I got this big outdoor project with them coming up, I'm trying to bang out as many like smaller projects, whether it be like restaurants or furniture sets and stuff like that for clients. And then I go right into that big project again. So like I told you before, my goal is to have those larger projects year round, but also have the smaller projects like the tables and stuff like that also going year round. So it's continuous cash flow. Yeah, at all times, because I want to be able to have those other things done while I'm focusing on the big projects.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Are they like doing a full renovation or something that you're ever able to?
So basically what happened with that school is it's a private school in Buffalo, and it was ran by nuns forever.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was ran by nuns, and then basically you could tell it was ran by nuns because everything as far as design, aesthetics, the whole school was so outdated. It was like almost laughable. And what had happened was they started building up their, like the president, the vice president. Basically, they started getting together and saying like, hey, we should probably increase enrollment here and like update some stuff, because if you go to UB,
Very old.
if you go to UB or any of these other schools, like they're constantly putting millions into their. I know those are state funded.
Yeah. But they gotta compete either way.
But they have to. You know, if you're charging $40,000 a year to go to college there, or maybe even more, it needs to be updated. It needs to appeal to customers or students, and they saw their admissions going down. So one of their accountants, his name is Brian, he's who I work with closest. He was an accountant for them, and he had given a suggestion on a custom build out there. And the president was so impressed with his creativity that she's like, why don't you kind of run this next project and see how it goes? And he killed it. So then he went from their accountant to full-blown like custom build out. I don't even know what to call him. He's not a general contractor. But in a sense he is. He basically no, he had zero experience. He's just creative, and he's got good vision. He's got good taste, and he was good at just like getting people together. Like as far as like, this guy's really good at lighting. This guy's really good at countertops. And he was able to bring people together to make amazing, spaces.
Which is a skill in itself.
So yeah, he had found me at 4 a.m, or maybe it was 2 or 4 a.m. on Facebook Marketplace, and he had messaged me. And I responded instantly because I was actually at work, and he was amazed that I answered in the middle of the night. He's like, "What the hell is this guy doing up?" Like, I thought I was crazy for being up right now. And we started conversing. I came the next day, and we just hit it off. We really did. Like, as far as the first space was called Minerva Room.
Okay.
And essentially it was a custom conference room for all the higher ups in the college. It's on the 4th floor. It's where the president's wing is. As far as
some windows, I would imagine. You have a nice.
It does, yeah. It's a solid brick room. All 3 sides are brick, and then the first wall is all glass. And like I said, when I went in there and started just going back and forth with them, we just clicked. Like, we understood exactly what the space was going to look like, and we just nailed it. And he was so happy with it. And it's cool because when I walk by that room on campus, it's always full of people. The president's always doing presentations in there. Like, the VP is always in there. There's always conferences going on. It's really utilized. So it's pretty cool to see, how that transpired into now what I've done there. I mean, I've done tons of projects.
Was it dentist office? Was that inside the U-Ville?
It was a pharmacy.
Pharmacy, okay.
Yeah, so the pharmacy build out was, they partnered up with Catholic Health. And they built what's called the Hub. And it's this massive building next to the college. Brand new build. So it's brand new.
Actually, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And it's a multi-function building. So it's got the pharmacy in there, Vital. It has a physical therapy, full facility in there. It has doctor's offices. It has a room for cooking classes where you can learn how to cook there. It has I believe an actual gym in there. It has all different health-oriented components to it. And he had contacted me saying like, "Hey, I've got this huge project. I want you to come in and talk to the head pharmacist." And when I walked in there, he's like, "What I'm looking for is I want like a Zen kind of vibe to it, almost like a resort-ish feel, where you go into like get a massage at a resort kind of thing.
Yep.
Like where there's those rocks and the waterfall and plants and he's like, but I want like a twist with like some masculinity to it. Like give me some like steampunk."
So he's able to give you a vision too, because that's kind of detailed.
When someone says something like that, like if I get those 2 words, Zen, steampunk, that's all I need. I don't need any other guidance. If I walk into a space, I could instantly, as far as I know what is going to be done functionality in there, because I can't just start like picturing all kinds of shit unless I know what's going to actually
of course.
be going on in there. But if I get those 2 words, because like you said, those are specific words. Like I instantly think of like copper piping or black piping, like raw steel, like rust kind of thing when you think of
You
steampunk.
do. Because steampunk is, I mean, that's not natural for everyone.
No.
But you've seen these images before.
Yeah. And then Zen, obviously everyone thinks of like those great rounded rocks.
Yep.
They think of like running water,
Yep.
big plants, greenery, like you said, and like relaxation kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I instantly was able to go design things in my computer and then brought it back. He's like, this is exactly what I want. He's like, this is what I want and so much more. We didn't even have to really change anything, which was awesome.
Wonderful feedback.
He wanted to like, he's like, do you think we can make this bigger? Do you think we could, you know, elongate it? Like simplicity kind of like, or simplicit changes, like really tiny little minor changes, and boom, we were there. And we were rolling. Like it was such a fast process. And since then, like I said, like I've just been back to back to back. This next one, knock on wood, hopefully I get it.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other, because
People hit on them?
yeah, so
Okay,
technically when it comes to a big project, like a lot of the projects, I don't have to bid on any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want me because they know that's what I produce.
Yeah.
There's not another person they're
The
gonna
goal
go
of
to.
everyone's honestly business to be like, we come to you because we know what you can do.
Exactly. Like you can't get the stuff at my warehouse from any other contractor or custom builder, furniture maker in New York State, period.
No.
You just can't. So when they want something that has to do with that, they're like, okay, Zach's the guy. But if they want like a huge commercial build out that has tons of components to it, there's other people that could do a lot of components. I like to get the whole job as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I've got guys that could do all the other components. Like I have a guy that can do electrical. I have a guy that can do plumbing. I've got my fabricators that I work hand in hand with. So even landscaping, if it's outdoors. So like I could be the general contractor and have my hand on every aspect and design every aspect, rather than having, you know, we're gonna build out this, we're gonna have 8 different contractors doing this job, or we can have Zach do it, and all his men, kind of thing. So, yes, it's been a blessing that message in the middle of the night was
at 4 a.m. because not everybody's gonna answer. I won't lie, I'm not answering at 4 a.m. because I go to sleep at 9. Old man now.
It might have been. It might have been 2 a.m. It was late. It was in the middle of the night though, for sure. And I remember I was at my shop working, and I was exhausted as I always was. But like, I don't know why. Like I just answered instantly. Like I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I just answered instantly, and he loved that. Like that to him was like, oh shit, okay.
It's dedication of someone, especially someone not knowing you, and them being up, and then you answering at the same time.
Mm-hmm. But at the time, I wouldn't say I was a fake it to make it at that point, but to an extent I was.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I first started with like my Facebook ads and stuff, I had some of my products that I'd made, but I had a bunch of example photos from other people's work that I could do, I just haven't done yet.
Yeah.
So
which isn't bad at all. I mean, if you know you can do it, I mean
that's how I started my whole business.
Yeah.
Everything was fake to make it. Like I mean, we could get into that further, but hey, can you build doors? Like, yeah. I've never built a door in my life.
You figured out though.
But I went to my shop and I sat there with my phone or iPad next to me and I did step by step. I was like, hell yeah, I can build a door. You know, like, hey, do you build a bar? Yeah, I could build a bar. I didn't even know how to quote a bar at the time, but I did. Built the first commercial bar, went well, and like that's just kind of fake it till you make it, like, to the max. As far as Wiseowl goes, that business was built off of that.
Yeah.
100%.
Which I know, which we'll dive into deeper, because I mean, obviously I know the background of what transpired, but like that is truly, but that also takes a certain level of confidence too, and belief in yourself to know that you can make what they're telling you to make.
Yeah.
And that's not easy for everybody to understand that you can, and be like, yeah, if you need it, I know I can do it. If I can't do it, I'll figure it out.
You know how
and everybody can do that.
There's those things that your parents say to you when you're little, like something stick with you.
Yeah, it's a will, there's a way. My mom always said
And
that.
my mom and dad always said, like, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Yep.
And still to this day, I'm convinced that's true.
Yeah.
Like, I know, unless it's obviously like proven scientifically, it's impossible.
Yeah.
But like, I know I could do, and if you put the blood, sweat, and tears into it, you could do it 100%.
Yeah.
Like some people might have advantages in some way than other, but everyone's got their own thing that propels them forward in whatever they do. But I strongly believe in that.
I mean, so do I. My mom is big on the manifestation. She has been for, I mean, it's a pretty big thing in our family because my dad is very, we grew up very religious. Mm-hmm. So he does give everything to God.
Yeah.
And my mom in the last like 5 years has really, it's not that she still strongly believes in God, but she's more of speaking into existence and like, I'm also making it happen.
I like that.
And
see,
I do.
I like both sides for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I grew up religious as well.
We had a conversation over Christmas, and like I'm in the middle now because I have my dad who is, you won't be able to do that without God. And Mom's like, but I told my mind to do it, and God helped me do it, and I figured it out.
Yeah.
So it's like the son's in the middle being like, well, listen, y'all are both saying the same thing, just giving it to whoever, which entity you're giving it to. My mom's like, well, I helped myself. My dad's like, God did it, and you can't argue with either one. Because I actually brought you up. I was like, now what if, and this is off on a tangent. I won't go too far off on it, but I was like, now what if someone's been doing what they've been doing their entire life, and they've been telling themselves they can accomplish this, and they accomplish it, mm-hmm. and they didn't have God in their lives. How are you going to tell them that only God can do this for you when they've been doing it their entire life?
I like that. Yeah.
So I was like, I thought he was like, Dad, you can't tell me if he's been doing this his entire life, and he didn't believe in God like that, then how are you going to tell him that only God can make this happen? And we off on it was actually a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
I was like,
see, I love this conversation.
I was like, and I had to be the mediator in between. I was like, listen, y'all are really talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to argue about it, but I mean, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. I mean, piggybacking off of like the way your parents think and different things like that. I mean, I know some, but what was your childhood like? I mean, I know you grew up here in Buffalo, and then just like what was your home life like growing up?
So, I grew up in North Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Parents were divorced at 9, and my father had moved to Syracuse and Albany. He was kind of bouncing around out of town. So I have 2 younger sisters. So I became the man of the house at a really young age. And I was also living in Buffalo. I was exposed to things that like a 9-year-old shouldn't be exposed to. I was hanging out with kids who were like 16, 17, 14, 15 too. Mm-hmm. But the way they talked, acted, like I said, I was just exposed to things like sex, drugs, at like a younger age. So going into my Catholic school, like those other kids didn't know about that stuff, really, mm-hmm. which is actually what made me gravitate to my best friend Chris in 4th grade because he was exposed to those things too in South Buffalo, and he had 2 little sisters and he had divorced parents. So it was weird how we gravitated because everyone else around us was, I wouldn't say everyone was more privileged, mm-hmm. but in a way they were more
sheltered.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, they were more sheltered for sure. Like I said, lower income. My parents were really hardworking. They still are. My mom is a really hard worker. But I was born while she was in nursing school, and she never finished, unfortunately. I really wish she did. She wishes she did. Mm-hmm. But she worked with her mom, my grandmother, at Children's Hospital at the age of 18 till currently. Wow. So she's had all kinds of jobs throughout that time, but she never made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And then my dad, for the longest time, he was a truck driver, didn't make that much. Now he's got a good job at the railroad. But anyways, growing up, we didn't have much. There's definitely times where like I saw my single mom like really struggle, and I think that's what gave me like that grit. Mm-hmm. Like I don't like to talk about this because I feel bad talking about it, like because of my poor mom. But like I remember going to school and I remember we had like this shitbox car. My mom was embarrassed of it, and I felt really bad. Like now that I'm older, thinking about how my mom must have felt, because she knew I was embarrassed of it. But I remember the door broke, so we had to actually hold the door shut for like the passenger door shut, or we'd like when I wasn't in the because I had to wear my seatbelt obviously, so I had to hold the door, wear the seatbelt. When I got out, she took the seatbelt, she like wrapped it around the door handle. I'm pretty sure to keep it
close.
Yeah. So I remember, and it's crazy because, like I said, my best friend and I, we both experienced the same thing. We didn't even realize this till we were adults because we never talked about it. Like we kept, like we didn't want to talk about that because we didn't want to be judged.
Yeah, especially in the school, you know.
But we pull up to school and we both asked our moms if they would drop us off at the beginning of the parking lot so that we weren't seen in those shit boxes. And looking back, like I can't imagine like what my mom must have felt, like how that must have like crushed her inside, like you know. So it sucks, but like that's the kind of like upbringing I had for like a while, and then at the age of 15, I got my first car. Before I even had my license, I got my first job off the books at a snowboard shop called Fat Man.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar, but it's in Amherst. But I got my first job off the books there, and I saved up like $4,000 or something. And my buddy Chuck and we actually drove his mom's car to Syracuse. I bought this 1998 Camaro. Every little high school douchebag has a Camaro. But
still finally a car in high school.
But I bought the car. I was 15. Didn't even have my permit yet. But I bought the car cash. Didn't tell my parents I was doing this, by the way. Which is hysterical. We took the front plate off his mom's car and put it on that, and drove side by side on the way home. Oh, super illegal. We drove home side by side from Syracuse. No permit, no license, nothing. Same plate, side by side. So if a cop pulled up behind us, like he'd be able to see that both plates were the same. And we were going like 100 miles an hour the whole way home. And but yeah, like I think I've always had that like entrepreneur mentality. I've always been trying to figure out like how to make money. When I was in UB, I was like flipping sneakers. I flipped cars. Since actually at 15, I flipped that first car for another, and for another, and every car just got better and better.
Which I know, which blew my mind, because I mean that's not, honestly, the school system, and I'll get into that, I feel like doesn't teach us to be entrepreneurs. They teach us to, you graduate and get a good career for a good company.
Yeah.
And like you usually don't learn those type of skills within school.
You don't. And like you see all these entrepreneurs on Instagram talking about that. Like you don't learn any of this stuff.
Yeah, you don't.
In school.
And I hear a lot of entrepreneurs saying, I was going to ask you this question as well. A lot of entrepreneurs say that like they weren't that good in school.
It was terrible. It was the worst.
And so was I. Which is like interesting to think about, because I'm like, it's interesting because I don't know how to say it in the matter of, it wasn't that we weren't getting in school, we weren't getting the curriculum they were teaching us. Because of what didn't matter to us. And what
just
we
no interest in it.
No.
No interest at all. And I didn't actually, so growing up in like middle school and stuff like that, middle school and high school, I always copied tests, copied homework. I'd come into school in the morning and just like walk up to someone like, hey, give me your homework. And like they just give it to me, I just copy it. And I never read. I just like cheated my way through school really. And I was never a dumb kid. Like I knew if I applied myself. Yeah. Like
we probably applied ourselves to the things we wanted to learn about.
Yeah.
Which was not what was being taught.
All I cared about was skateboarding.
Yeah.
And cars. That's all I cared about. I knew everything about skateboarding, forwards, backwards, anything about cars. Like I could name the specific engine in that specific year in that specific car. Like even at a young age, that's what I was into. And high school the same way, like I said. College was like a rude awakening because I started college just because I was dating this girl, and super smart girl. Did really well. She was going to be going to college for pharmacy. Actually at UVille.
Okay.
Which is funny because I ended up building a pharmacy for UVille. Kind of crazy, right? And what's funny is my youngest sister is in pharmacy school at UVille and is going to be working at that pharmacy I built.
That's full circle.
Crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. But anyways, so I didn't want to be like the loser not going to college kind of thing. So I was looking at colleges, but I had no idea what the hell I wanted to do. I have a late birthday, so I've always been a year younger than everyone in my grade. So I think I went to high school or college at 17. Yeah, I did for sure at 17. So I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So I went to ECC, community college, and I started there at criminal justice. I had zero interest in being a cop. Absolutely nothing. Never once have I even thought for a second I wanted to be one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have some kind of major so I didn't feel like a loser. So I started going there and I wasn't applying myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was leaving school early every day to go work on my Corvette that was in my grandmother's garage. So I had a built Corvette, like almost 1,000 horsepower. I had nitrous and everything.
How many steps from the Camaro was that?
So I had the 98 Camaro and I traded this kid Chuck would probably still say this against me, but because he said like I ripped him off. But he came to me with this. He came to me with this deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the 98 Camaro and I had these Corvette wheels. Okay, on it. The trade was I traded my car for his plus a certain amount of cash, but I got to keep the Corvette wheels. Okay, he was trying to sell his car and no one was buying it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I did that swap with him. The car looked amazing with those wheels, especially at our age, because I'm like 16 years old. This really loud exhaust, like just beast of a car. Everyone knew that car. And the people talking shit about it wanted that car. Like, it was the shit. It was the shit in high school for sure. And I had that car. I drove that 8 hours and traded for an Audi S4. Okay. And that S4 I ended up selling. Then I bought that Corvette.
Okay.
So the guy wanted like $21,000 for the Corvette. Okay, I had my eye on it. 17 years old, I couldn't spend that.
No.
He lowered it to 16.5. I was like, that's a big
That's
jump.
a big jump.
That's a big jump.
That is a nice
he
jump.
needs to sell it
Mm-hmm.
if he's making that big of a jump.
Mm-hmm.
So being the cocky little shit I was at 17 years old, I went there with 13.5 cash.
Okay, not everybody at 17 has 13.5 cash.
No.
No.
But I went there with 13.5 cash, knowing, not a penny more, knowing I was going to spend 13.5 cash. And I just wanted to know what his motive to sell was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where my true entrepreneurial kind of thing started really sparking.
Okay.
Because I get there and he's got a newborn baby and boom. That's why. He's got a newborn baby. Wife wants him to sell his race car,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of it, get out of the driveway, we have a newborn.
Yep.
So I'm like, that's why I went from 21 to 16.5. So I test drove it, pretend like I wasn't too interested. I was like, yeah. It was like dark outside. Like, all right, I think I'm gonna get going. I'll let you know. He's like, you sure you don't want it? It's like, I don't know. It's like, the most I give you is
Boom.
boom, broken glass.
Broken glass. Oh, you're good. It's a wine glass.
Yeah.
Not everything is perfect. Boom.
No.
So the most I give you is 13.5.
So I was like, yeah, I said something like, most I give you is 13.5 for it. Pretend like I was like, you know. And, but really, when I drove it, it was such an intimidating vehicle. It was manual. It had over 500 horsepower. I was 17 years old. And it had electronic exhaust where you press a button and the valves open and close. All the new high-end cars have it, but like back then, like that was an add-on.
Special thing.
Yeah. So like it got so loud that it vibrated your chest when it was idling. Like you feel it. It would actually set off car alarms as I idle by it sometimes. It was wild. But anyways, he's like, I don't know. And I think he went to talk to his wife, I'm pretty sure. Came out, we'll take it. I was like, yeah, you will. So I went, got it out of the glove box, came in, did the thing. And then my girlfriend at the time drove beside me. We drove it all the way home together. And then, like I said, yeah, I was dipping out of school, going to work on that. And I just was not into school at all. Like, all I cared about was the damn car. And I actually dropped out, and all I did every day was work on the car. And I just had, I don't know what I was doing. I was landscaping at the time. I was making really good money. At 17, I was making like $15 an hour cash at 17 plus multiple days of work a week. We would work on school campuses.
Okay.
and we'd get, I forget what the terminology is, but it was a certain type of pay where we made $23.50 an hour.
Really?
Yeah, prevailing wage, that's what it's called.
Okay, I've never heard of
Yeah,
that.
prevailing wage, yeah, because it was for the state. Because they were public schools. They were the BOCES. So we did that several days a week. Yeah. So I was making 15-hour cash plus that, and I had no bills at 17. Nothing. I had my car insurance. My car was paid off cash. So I was raking in like $1,000 plus a week, and so I dropped out of school and I was just kind of doing that. I don't recall what I did in the winter, but that's what I did. And then I started dating, Cam.
Yeah.
And shout out to Cam.
Shout out to Cam.
And
You ever watch this? She probably will.
and she's big and she's really, really good student. Really, school is super important. And she actually encouraged me to get back to school. And going to Fredonia and hanging out with her and her friends that were so, like, obviously everyone's partying like crazy. Physically use my hands and write it out. Like, I can't just look at a board.
Yeah.
I might get concepts that way.
Which they
that's
should
about it.
do more in school, but continue.
100%, because not everyone learns.
By
Like,
looking at
my little
okay.
sister, Christina, she absorbs like a sponge in class.
Okay.
She does. My sister Marissa and I, who I actually started out a business with,
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
I don't know.
We can get into that. But her and I are the same way. Like, we need to actually do it. And you gonna break another bottle over there?
I was having a great fucking time, yo. That Moscow
The
Mule.
Moscow Mule got me.
You got him. Bartend. I say cheers, you know what I'm saying?
I really would have put one shot in there, I swear to God.
It's okay, Cameron's a lightweight. It was one time at 500, gave him three hay burners. Man was like, what the fuck is going on?
One of my best friends, Mo. I don't know if you've met him.
I've heard of him, but
He's like a smaller stature guy. Put it nicely. Love you, Mo. He drinks one beer. You could tell he's feeling it after one. Two, you start talking to him, and he could hate someone. He could hate you. He's got his arm around you. He's just like,
Loving
after
him.
2 beers, I'm like, must be nice.
Must be nice.
You know,
Yeah,
to
that
be honest with
Fredonia,
you, I don't remember the last time I've been drunk. And that's not to say like I'm above getting drunk or anything like that. I'm just not a lightweight by any means, and I don't like to drink a bunch to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I value sleep and like getting up early the next day and going to the gym or going to boxing or whatever, where I do not want to get hungover.
Yeah.
So I really just don't remember the last time. Plus, it's expensive. Like,
It is
like if I might have to buy 6 or 7 Moscow Mules before like I'm really
You
feeling
feel
it.
anything.
Him, he gets one and he's just like he's ready to rock.
That's
Like,
a good
he's-
life.
Yeah, it's really
It's
nice.
a good life.
It is
'Cause
nice.
I personally am not
Yeah.
like that. Maybe I'll get like
You
It's
get,
nice.
if you spend $10 on Moscow Mule and you're buzzed, and that's a nice happy buzz for him, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Man, what would that be like? To save all that money.
Yeah.
To not have to do that. And then you got girls, they want drinks, and I don't really buy too many of those. I'm just saying though, they want one
Yeah.
eventually, you know. So one thing I really want to let people know about, because this is honestly one of the coolest stories I've ever heard. Because it wasn't like you, from what I know, you weren't in woodworking before this business.
No.
So
Not
the
at all.
origin story of Wiseowl has always been amazing to me. So I only need to go through because I know it, but I'm just saying like sometimes it's not what you think you're gonna do. It just happens to turn into something.
Yeah.
And
Perfect. My story is a perfect example.
yeah, just
Really
turn it
is.
into something.
Really is. All right, so like I said, I was really into skateboarding when I was younger. I was a sponsored skateboarder. So the only woodworking or using of tools I ever really did was me building skateboard ramps or skate boxes. You know what
Yeah,
a box is?
yeah.
Box is just like a rectangular
Build something too.
object with angle iron or some type of metal coping
Grind
on the
on it.
edge so you can grind on it. So I had built those, but that's the extent of my woodworking or like any kind of carpentry work or construction of anything.
Mhm.
When I was younger, I always liked playing with Bionicles and erector sets.
That's
remember
a
how
throwback.
sick
That's a
Bionicles were?
throwback. Bionicles were lit.
Bionicles connects. You remember connects?
No. I
So,
don't know how to
Connects were like cylindrical pieces, like almost like a plastic
I do know what you're talking
straw.
about. Yep.
And then
And then
yeah,
the
so
things
I
on
would
the end that you
construct all kinds of
Yep.
stuff. So I've always like just building stuff. I was never really into Legos for whatever reason.
Legos is OG.
It was almost like too simplistic for me.
Okay.
Because they're all just rectangles, really.
They've gotten better, but
It was just too simple for me. Like, I like to have angled pieces, all kinds of like actual components to create complex things. So like, I always gravitated towards that. But anyways, so how Wiseowl started, I'm gonna rewind back to college real quick. So after I was motivated with schooling, I was doing really well in engineering in the program at NCCC. I transferred over into UB, University of Buffalo.
okay.
And that was another wake-up call for me, because going from community college, especially after just getting good at school for the first time in your whole damn life, to being thrown into UB, it was wild. Like, UB is a whole nother level of education. That's why people come from China and all over the place to go to UB. I mean, you go into a classroom with maybe 400 students, so they don't know you by name at all. You have zero. Yeah, you're just a number. You have zero connection with the professors, and they all had accents. They were all foreign, especially in the engineering program. All the professors in the engineering program were either like Indian or Russian or whatever the hell they were, and they all had heavy accents. So it was really difficult for me to like I said, in the school setting, it's hard for me to pay attention and to really like soak in everything. But when you have an accent thrown in there where you're actually trying to think about everything that they're actually saying plus what it means, really difficult. Not for me. So I lived in the Capon third floor library. Lived there. I was there. I mean, I pulled all-nighters there all the time. Like, I was a slave to that library. I loved it. It was a silent library. I threw headphones in, and I just went to town. But like, I wasn't doing all that great. I was getting by, but I was not excelling the way I was at NCCC. So while I was in school there, I had gone to, like, at that time it was really popular to go to country concerts. Like, I guess people still go now. But at the time, everyone went to every country concert, not just Zac Brown. Because now people go to Zac Brown. But like Rascal Flatts, Jason Aldean, like all those guys, everyone went to every single concert at that age. They were so fun. They really were.
Oh, they are.
They were a blast.
I used to work for a country station.
You told me about that. Yeah, I remember that. But I remember packing in like sardines, like we always did, in my buddy's, I think it was pickup truck at the time. And so it was like me and like a few girls and like my other guy friend, and like we're all just crunched in the back seat. And we had like one of our mom's plastic picnic tables, or not picnic tables, but like the folding tables that everyone breaks through. Beer pong table. In the back. And I remember like subconsciously seeing out of the corner of my eye, just like sliding around and hitting all over the place and just being annoying back there on the way there. And I remember getting out and there's lines of trucks. Now, I've been to concerts before. Like, I was aware of all this.
Country concerts.
But for whatever reason, but for whatever reason, that day, these things were really sticking out to me. So, like, I was super aware of my surroundings for whatever reason. And so I noticed just rows of pickup trucks. Every pickup truck had a tailgate table behind it. And I remember, like, watching that thing bang around the back seat, or the truck bed. And I remember, like, I'm pretty sure I was drunk at the time, but, like, I remember just looking at this tailgate, and I just invented the product, like, right there on the spot. And I invented, I called it the Apex the company was called Apex Tailgates when I initially started opening the company, or made the company. But at the time, I had drawn that night on a napkin, a rough sketch of what it would be. And essentially, it was a rectangular object that when you opened your tailgate, it would fasten to that inside surface, okay? And then you have those two wires that hold the tailgate flat, level. So basically, you couldn't just unfold it because it would hit those wires. So my components slid out and unfold into an 8-foot long surface. Most beer pong tables are only 6 foot. Everyone's backing up to shoot. So I made mine 8 foot. And what was cool about it is when it folded back, slid in, and you closed the tailgate, it was attached to the tailgate. So it was just like this on the inside of the bed. You couldn't see it from the outside of the truck unless you peeked in. It was bolted, and you couldn't steal it either, because the only way to detach it is you'd have to slide it vertically, hold it up there, and then unscrew the whole thing, which would have been really difficult to do. So you couldn't steal it. It was built to be weatherproof, and it took up 0 truck bed space because, well, technically 1.5 inches. That's it.
Yeah, that's really
so
bad.
I mean, it really took up really bad. There's nothing to it. So I invented that product, and but I had that drawing on my dresser for like months, and I just did nothing with it. And then one day, for whatever reason, I looked at it. Somebody said, like, do something with that. So I was at UB at the time for engineering school. I started reaching out to companies looking for materials and stuff like that. I was actually getting up in the middle of the night to communicate with people in China, because they're different time zones. So I'd be up in the middle of the night, like I set an alarm, get up on WhatsApp, talking to these suppliers. And I'm like trying to get samples for materials. I'm testing these samples. And I finally got this material called PVC foam board.
Okay.
Basically, it's a sheeting that's really high density on the top shell and the bottom shell, and it's got like a foam core in it. It's still rigid, but not nearly as rigid as the outside. So, and it's lightweight. So I started getting all these samples, and then I decided on everything I was going to order. So I spent like thousands of dollars, and I was ordering. I just wasn't thinking. I had no guidance. I had 0 mentor. I couldn't talk to really anyone about this because no one I knew had done anything like this. So I started ordering to get the cost down. I ordered like 3,000 drawer slides. 500 sheets of that stuff.
So much inventory.
Like 3,000 hinge systems. And I wasn't even ordering the same amount of each. I was just ordering the minimum requirement to get that cheap. Yeah, so like it really wasn't very strategic at all, looking back at all. I just thought like, oh, I'm getting the best price, that's gonna be best for me. When in reality, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I should have started with maybe enough material to make like 50 of these tables to test out if it would work. But instead, I was able to make hundreds. So then I met my mentor now. I was, through a friend, I was introduced to my mentor. He said, come to the shop, I want to talk to you. I met him, I told him about my idea and stuff like that. I told him I was looking for a warehouse space, and he was so nice, he actually gave me the warehouse space for free for a year. So, yeah.
I know it's for a year.
Blessing, yeah, for a year.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, he didn't tell me at the time that it was going to be a year, and he actually would have let me, he told me he would let me continue to stay there longer without paying, but I didn't want to. I wanted to be paid, kind of thing. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I spent the first like month, literally a month. This room was an inch thick of dust. There was like wires hanging from the ceiling. It was blue doors, like the ceiling tiles were all bowed and like nasty from leaks. So I did everything. I cleaned the floor, like stripped the floor down, made it beautiful. I painted every square inch of it. I made a huge logo in the corner that I designed. I replaced every ceiling tile, every light bulb. Like I just made it. I'm such a like perfectionist when it comes to like my environment. When I'm working, I need to like be happy with the surroundings. So I did all of that, and then my materials started coming in. Like I'm like, it's go time. I started getting trucking companies saying like, hey, I have a delivery for Apex tailgates. I was like, oh shit, like, this is cool. And then they bring a skid out, and it had my logo on it. And I was like, wow, like this is crazy. I had like hundreds of boxes with my logo all over it. I'm like, these are my components. So like, this is cool as shit. So I would bring it inside, and I was just killing myself. I was working well over 100 hours a week, like 120, 125. I almost fell asleep driving home every single night. I remember that, like blasting music at like 4 a.m. just to get myself awake enough to get home. I remember falling asleep a couple times. There were some points where like I would fall asleep on my workbenches. One night, which is crazy to think about, I actually fell asleep using my table saw.
Yeah, it's very crazy to think about. Very dangerous. Yeah.
It's a loud, powerful machine. I'm doing hundreds of cuts, and I dozed off, and thankfully I went crooked, and I kicked the piece back in my stomach. Rather than slicing my hand off, it threw it back in my stomach and woke me up. Thankfully now I have the financial funds to have a saw that has electronic technology to, if it even senses my skin being near it, the blade drops down.
Really?
Yeah, that black saw I have in there,
okay.
like you physically can't cut yourself on it. It's amazing. But anyways, so I started doing all that. And I was just digging myself, I was getting ripped off by these Asian importers as well. Because they could tell I was just a young kid.
Yeah.
But this is also somewhat true because I experienced this with my wood from Costa Rica, but I like a boat would get stuck in a port, and because my stuff is on that boat, I had to split the cost with every other customer on, like every other customer that has stuff in that boat. That delayed time, we all had to pay for it. Or like if they had to inspect it for drugs, I had to pay for it. Yeah. And then if it got to New York City, they wanted to inspect it again, I had to pay for it. So I was just getting fees left and right. And all of a sudden, like what I thought was gonna cost maybe $5,000 was like $12,000. And at the time too, I was I had all my lawyer fees for my patent. When I first started doing this, I was told that the patent would cost me like a few grand. And that would cost me like $11,000-$12,000 at the end. So I'm in school, starting, actually, I'm sorry, let me retract real quick. So I'm in school prior to me getting the warehouse and stuff. And right before I dropped out, I went to a job fair. So I already have the patent rolling. I already have materials and samples and stuff, but I don't have the warehouse yet.
Yeah.
So I go to this job fair. I get there late because I had printer issues with my resume. On the resume, it showed that I was patent pending on 3 different products. Because I invented multiple versions of that tailgate table. It wasn't just a beer pong table. I invented a mobile workstation for construction workers. So this one would be metal, so it would unfold. You could put your miter saw on it. At the edge of it was a ruler, so you could put a 2x4 up to it, mark it, cut it. The extension wings were detachable and replaceable with different components depending on what kind of work you do. So if you're an electrician, it might have a certain extension wing on there that has, attachments for whatever you might do. If you're a carpenter, it might have a router table on it, et cetera, et cetera.
You still have those, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The patents?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 20 years.
Wow.
From the day that they actually were finalized. So I probably have, because the patent actually, because I was patent pending for like a year and a half. And then it was final. Yeah, so I probably have like almost 19 years left.
Oh,
on my patent, yeah. Yeah, so by the time it was all finalized, like I physically just got my actual patent with a plaque and everything in the mail this past year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To be 3 years into another business.
Into another business.
And
got my patent.
And patent just now.
Yeah. And anyway, so I went to the job fair, had the resumes, walked in, lines were just like ridiculous. At every little station, there was like 50 to 100 kids holding your little resume, like getting ready to talk to these people. And I was like, shit, like I'm so late. This thing ends in like 30 minutes. I'm like I'm getting anxious. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to talk to anybody. This is a waste of time. I'm dressed all nice. And I walk over to this one table, and like I said, it has a huge line to it. But there's car components on the table. I'm like, I could talk about those. Like I know what those are.
Yeah.
So I see someone walking back with them. The company was called Mahle, M-A-H-L-E. See him walking back to the table. And I'm like, I'm gonna just walk right up to him. Like, screw this line. I literally just walked around the line, walked right up to him, shook his hand, introduced myself, started talking about my patent, or my resume, and then he noticed the patent, so we started talking about the patent. And he was asking me about it. I was pulling up pictures on my phone. He was like really impressed. So all of a sudden he's like, hey John, come here. And John's with like, I don't even know if his name was John, but John was with
John Doe.
Yeah, John Doe was with another student. He got pulled away. So John and then the other guy were talking. And then all of a sudden they're like, Jimmy, come here real quick. All of a sudden that huge line, every single mala worker was talking to me. I had just cut the line. So I probably looked like the biggest asshole in the world. These kids were like, screw this.
That's initiative though.
But I did it, and they're like, I want to interview you tomorrow. So I was like, okay, sweet. So this was on Thursday, interviewed Friday morning. Interview went really well.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the guys that was there, and then like another guy that was higher up. The guy that was higher up is like, I want you to actually meet the president of the company. He's in Buffalo right now. This is a worldwide company. They build high-end, it's kind of weird. They build like high-end race car components, but then they also build air conditioning systems for everyday cars, like all the ducts and canals and stuff like that. Huh. So basically they get the schematics of the car from the car manufacturer, and they design like a functional system, like all the tubes and ductwork that works efficiently with the car build. So that's what they do. So I went to the actual headquarters in I don't know if it's like it's not the worldwide headquarters, but whatever it is in New York State. Mm-hmm. It was like out past Lockport, and I went in there. I think the interview went pretty well for the first, majority of it. They were talking about the patent again, wanting to know all about it. And the one guy started talking to me about like business. Because he could tell that I wasn't an engineer. Mm-hmm. He was like, so what do you plan on doing with these? See, I could tell you're like really passionate about it. But like, he's like, I could tell that you're not speaking like an engineer would about this stuff. Like you see more than, the engineer. Like he's like, I see something. He said, look, just come here real quick. So he took me in the hallway, and we walked up to this like wall of plaques, and there was all these workers in the company, and underneath it would show like what patent that worker was able to produce for the company. But he's like, this is all they have to show for it because the company owns the patent. So the company might be making millions of dollars off that product that guy made, but all he has is this goddamn plaque. So he looked at me, and he's like, all right, let's go back into the room. And I'm like, I have this weird feeling in my stomach. It's almost like I'm interviewing to get this job, but he's saying, run away. Yeah. Basically. So I got back in the room, and the rest of the conversation was basically like, run with it, take that, run. And I left.
That's a strange.
Weird, right? I got in my truck, and I was like, how did that even go? Like, how did that go well? Like, did they like, And I went to UB the next morning, dropped out. Walked in, first thing in the morning, dropped out. And that's when, what's funny though, is I was still at UB every single day for months in Cape and Third Floor Library, doing that research, doing that groundwork for Apex. After I dropped out, I was still in that library every day. So the dedication didn't fall off. It just redirected. So fast forward again, back to where we were, I started producing the product. And I was seeing, I learned a valuable lesson. Like, I had made prototypes before but they were out of wood and stuff. Yeah. I didn't make a prototype out of the actual material yet until I had it, which is so stupid. But, I did like the math on it and stuff like that. Like, mm-hmm. I actually, I thought that it would have been perfect, but there's things that I didn't consider. And once I started making physical prototypes, I had them on my truck. I started seeing like, oh shit, I gotta change this. Mm-hmm. The way, when the extension wing went down, if you were to push on it, it had play. Like it wanted to bounce. Okay. So the component that slid out underneath it to support it, it needed to be way more rigid. It couldn't flex with it. It had to just prevent it from moving. Just like if this had table leaves on it, you don't want this end to be bounced up and down as I'm sitting at it. Just the same way if we're playing beer pong or have a crock pot on the end of it, or whatever it may be, it can't bounce. So I was racking my brain trying to figure out, like, how do I fix this? Like, shit. And then I fixed it, but it was only to a certain extent. And I started rolling more with it, started producing more. And it's funny because I was even faking it until you make it kind of thing. Then I just never really made it with that business yet. I plan on doing something with it still.
I would say so. Add 20 years, you may as well.
Yeah, I want to either. I do.
Yeah,
but I want to either sell or license the patent. I think.
Okay.
Because even though I'm like, it's a really cool business. I like everything about it, especially because I created it. Like, it's like literally an invention that my mind made. But I'm not passionate about it. Like, I'm passionate about the woodworking.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. So I want to either like hand it off and have like another company produce it and then just get royalties on it, or just sell it outright. But anyways, I was going heavy into credit card debt at the time, and I just was not producing the optimal product that I wanted. And so I started doing research on how do I produce this in the best way possible. So I started talking to companies that did injection moldings, the same way Yeti coolers are made. So they make a giant metal mold, pour molten plastic in there, and hardens to the shape, whatever. It was going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to have things injection molded. So I'm like, that's not going to work. So credit card debt's building up. I just got my first apartment, and it wasn't great. It was in Amherst. But it wasn't the best area, and it just looked like shit in there. Like I said, I need my surroundings. I need to like my surroundings.
Everything's meticulous too.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, like if you go, you've seen how everything in my apartment is in its spot. Like
very meticulous.
I wouldn't say I have OCD, but like to an extent, I probably do.
It's like
I probably do. Yeah. So where was I going?
Well, this is the origin story.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to think. Oh, okay, yeah. So I painted the apartment, and I had just saw that week on Instagram or Facebook that someone put pallet wood. And this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
So I saw that someone put pallet wood on a wall. And I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Like at the time, rustic was in.
Yep.
Barn doors, rustic.
It was during the time of Fixer Upper.
It was in.
Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yes.
This show was very, very big.
So I screenshot the photo. And you see like pallets all over the place on the side of the road without even realizing it. But I started thinking, I'm like, on my way home to and from work, I see pallets all over the place. So I took my reciprocating saw and I cut behind the nails and got a bunch of planks. Went home, nailed them up on the walls. I was like, that looks pretty good. Looking back, it looks like shit, in my opinion. Now, at least. But at the time, I thought it was really good. So I did that on several walls throughout the house. And this was at the same time where I was coming home at like 4 a.m, exhausted. So I'd come home at like 3, 4 a.m, and I'd be painting for like an hour and a half, and then falling asleep. And the one night, I was on my stairs. I'll never forget this. My favorite accent wall I had done in that apartment was above the stairway. So I'm painting the wall gray, and I kept looking at it because it was just captivating. It was cool looking. And I was like, people would pay pretty good money for that, I think. So at 4 a.m, walked up to my room, grabbed my laptop, went on Facebook Marketplace, made an ad, went to bed. Woke up the next morning, I had like 32 messages. So like I said, I'm in credit card debt at this point. And like, this was like the lowest I ever been financially. Like I hadn't had cars getting flipped. I just wasn't killing it. I had my truck lease at the time.
It was all in. So it's all in.
Yeah. So I put everything into Apex. I thought it was gonna just like rock out. But I did that. I don't know if you remember that Barstool video I made for it too. I backflipped, I shotgunned a beer. I planned this out strategically. So I wasn't even drunk. Everyone thought I was drunk. I took my truck to the Bills game, opened the tailgate up, had people playing beer pong on it. And I took a competitor's beer pong table, put it behind it, and I had someone video me shotgunning the beer. I stood up on the top of the tailgate. I backflipped over my product and landed and smashed through the competitors. And I landed on my feet, actually. So I backflipped, landed, crashed through the table, turned around, and walked away. Like it was, nothing. Like I smashed the competition, basically. And it went viral. It went on Barstool. It had like 20 million views. It went on Fox News. It was
What?
It was all over the place. Yeah.
Was this before the trend of smashing tables?
It was during it. It was actually, what's funny is I got kicked out of the Bills stadium because that week prior, funny you say that, they had banned table smashing. So they put something in the paper that if you were caught smashing through a table, you'd be kicked out. So they actually kicked me out. But thankfully, shout out to Steve Schultz. His dad got me right back in. So so he got me right back in, and it blew up. So people were asking to buy them at that point,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't confident enough with my product. I really wasn't. So
Which is crazy with all that material you bought.
I
Everything you had.
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in a warehouse space. Everything with my logo on it. Like, I was doing custom ones too because I was a vinyl wrapping every single one I made, just like a car.
Mm-hmm.
So I had yellow ones, black ones, Bills themed ones. Like, they were sick. They looked really nice. But you get an email 2 months later that there was issues with it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, made that ad on Facebook for the accent walls. Woke up at 32 messages and booked 3 jobs that week. I made over $3,000 cash that first week. And what's crazy is my material cost. Anyone that wants to do this business, they should. Any young kid, it's amazing. You drive around. This is what the business consisted of. This was the business model. I drove around. I would either call or email warehouses or walk right in and say, hey, I noticed you have a ton of pallets. They'd be like, yeah, go grab some. So I'd fill up my truck bed. I'd ratchet strap like 20, 30 of them. I'd go to my shop, cut them all down, and then I'd throw them up on people's walls. I wouldn't even stain them and nothing. So
you weren't staining them?
I did for a few customers, but they liked that raw wood. And
That's insanity. That's insanity.
And I was charging $15 a square foot. So 12-inch by 12-inch, $15. $15. So a 10 by 10 wall was $1,500. $1,500, and I'd have it done in like 2 hours. So I'd come in with my free wood.
Mm-hmm.
I had a box of $10 nails that last me multiple jobs. I had an air compressor, a $100 nail gun. Okay, these people should do this, by the way, because it was profitable. I'd probably be making more money now if I stuck with it. Yeah. But my brain's too creative. Like, I need to be doing more. But business-wise, I'm making so much more money, profit-wise at least. Yeah, so I'd come, nail it all up, get the check or cash, leave, on to the next. I would be able to do multiple in a day. So I was just like, all of a sudden my credit cards were paid off, and I was making really good money. I went and bought my dream car.
I know.
The Audi RS7.
We'll pause right there.
Oh.
The Audi RS7.
Yeah.
Because I was going to speak about that as leading up to all the flipping of cars.
Yeah.
And the Audi RS7, I'm still upset. In my own mind, I told Kevin this before the interview even started. I'm still upset that the Audi RS7 is not here.
That's okay. We won't even get into that whole story. But
Sad to pause. I gotta pee.
Oh. We're gonna pause. I love that.
He first goes to the bar and he does this and he like taps it.
Yeah.
Puts the foam on. That might be the best looking
he takes a knife and slices it. Yeah.
It's like a black superhero movie, in all honesty.
That's a really good movie.
I mean, my favorite part is when they're in the Klan rally in Jonah. They're like, Jonah Hill. And they're like, not saying the bags were a bad idea. Not pointing any fingers, but it could have been done.
Yeah. I can't see for shit.
Don't ask me your mom for nothing.
That scene's hysterical.
So fucking funny.
Jamie Foxx is a great actor.
Samuel L. Jackson in that movie too.
Yeah.
I mean, Leo, when he actually like put this hand out on the table and started bleeding, it was real. It was real blood.
Yeah,
he put it down and it was real.
Yeah.
He is we're saying built different. He's built different, especially for what was the movie? He had the frostbite, the Revenant.
The Revenant.
With him and Tom Hardy.
He's unreal. I love Tom Hardy too.
Yeah, Tom
Leonardo DiCaprio, they've been posting this video of him for Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so concentrated, and then they say action, and he just snaps up, and he's instantly ready.
I see.
He
that.
looks at the
I see
ground.
that, yeah.
He looks
Yeah.
at the ground, and he's so ready. And boom, smile on his face, and like he's
Yeah,
just
shakes the guy's hand.
Yeah,
out straight.
it was- yeah.
Honestly, a little scary how you can flip back like that.
Yeah.
I think it was him. Yeah, have you ever seen Don't Look Up on Netflix? Just came out.
It's so stupid.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I didn't really like. I got bored. I started
Dude, I
skipping
thought it was-
through it.
it's
I
so
was starting to
fun.
fall asleep. Yeah.
They're like making
Yo.
it was the dumbest movie.
Yo.
I know it was
Mad
stupid
funny.
as shit.
I'm like,
this is
he is way too good of an actor to be in that movie.
No.
yeah, no,
no.
I agree.
Movie
I
was
thought it was
great.
dumb.
There was
I
a
thought
part
it
where
was
Jonah was like, he was like, the Molly just kicked in. I timed that fucking perfectly. Like, it was one of the greatest lines in the whole movie. I thought it was a great movie. I love that humor of like,
Now,
the James
I
Frank
got
Wallace is the end.
So I was doing work and having it as background noise, but I was watching it periodically, and I just was not into it. But it's okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Teach
teach his own. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, we left off on the Audi RS7 and then accent walls. I mean, I do want to get into a little bit of how you decided to go all in and then go with exotic wood. Because from pallet wood to exotic wood is two different things.
Big difference.
Way different price points.
So yeah, huge. so like I said, the accent walls was killing it, and then the whole thing where I got back to the fake it till you make it thing.
Mhm.
Hey, do you do barn doors? Like, I love this wall. Can you build a barn door? I was like, yeah, I can make a barn door for you, no problem. We'll just go to the shop, figure it out. Made one myself. I still actually have the first one ever made at the shop. Somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, I can build barn doors. And I made it. I started doing barn doors and accent walls. And then it's like, hey, can you build a bar? I was like, yeah, I can build a bar. Looking back at it, that bar sucks. It really does. In my opinion, as an experienced builder now,
Yeah.
I look at that and I'm like,
Gotta start
that
somewhere,
thing
like you
sucks.
said.
But yeah, but you really do. And I get better every day.
Mhm.
I really do. I notice little things that I figure out every day that I improve upon. It might be
Makes
me
life
holding
fun.
my sander different, like simple stuff, but it makes my craft that much better. But yeah, I was building bars, and then I was doing a bunch of dog crates, like
You were saying that.
high-end dog crates. This one client of mine was like, "Hey, can you build this dog crate?" I saw it on Etsy. It's not, so they sent me the link to it. It was $900, and I was like, "I can do that for like $850." I've never built one before. I built it. Looking back, that thing sucked, but I made it, and they loved it. And what's funny is, actually, this past year I bought it back from him I'll get into that later. I bought it back from him as a favor because him and his wife, I guess, split up.
Oh.
They didn't have two dogs anymore. But I bought it back from him. And I literally got to my shop, looked at it, I was like, oh my God. So I smashed it with a hammer to pieces and threw it out. Yeah.
It's like, oh, how far we've come.
Because that guy, he doesn't know this, but like he was one of my first really good customers.
Mm-hmm.
I built a barn door. Then it turned into a barn door closet door. Then it turned into a dog crate. Then a basement bar, L-shaped bar, and then a shuffleboard table.
Oh, shit.
So that was like a big like kickstart for the business. Aside from the accent walls, like that was big for me. And I really liked that
Learning
because I
aspect,
was
yeah.
learning aspect and creativity. I wasn't just nailing, like it was so easy for me to do that. Like I said, it took me 2 hours. I was in and out, in and out.
Mhm.
Like I said, business aspect, amazing. Great business model. But I need to be doing more. Like my brain doesn't allow me to just do that. So I started doing that, and then I got my first commercial bar. And I was, like I said, fake it till you make it. My ads on Facebook were of other people's work at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It might have like one or two things of mine, but it might be like a huge commercial bar that I didn't build that. But customers, thankfully, like I wouldn't have lied to a customer.
Yeah.
But they never asked me, like, did you build that specific bar? Like that was never asked. Like, could you build this? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time, yeah, of course I can. And I started just doing restaurants and full-on commercial builds. Like I get a call from someone and say, hey, I want a full restaurant build. Like, can you do the tables, chairs, the bar, everything? Like, yeah. So I just kept saying, yes, I'll do it. And looking back, I'm glad I did, but now I'm more selective with what I do because I know what makes me good money and what I actually want to do. Like, is it worth me like messing around with all those metal balusters on a dog crate for $900? Absolutely not. No. But at the beginning, I needed to do those kinds of things to get me to where I'm at. The whole exotic wood thing. Shout out my friend Chris again. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned
Jack Cashing the Bills game?
No, that was Steve Schultz.
Oh, okay.
My friend Chris was my best friend since 4th grade. I think we talked about that before we were rolling.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had asked me the one day, he's like, do you want to go to the convention center? Is that where the disco was?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, come to the convention center with Julie and I, his girlfriend. And so I was like, all right, fine. Because I was at work, and it was rare for me to leave work to go do something. But I was like, yeah, why not? So I went there, and this guy, he had a setup there with these massive wood slabs. Like, massive. I was like, where are these from? Like, where did you get these? So I walked up to him, and I introduced myself, and I was like, hey, I actually do similar work like this. I use live edge slabs and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, but not like this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. These are different. I'm like, these are certainly different. So I got his contact information, and I ended up calling him and went to his spot out in Lockport, and I bought a slab off of him that I wanted to put in my dining room at my last apartment. And it was so funny because like I bought this 11-foot slab thinking I was going to put it in my dining room. It was like the size of my dining room. So I got this first slab, and I bought a few more off of him, and he really hooked me up on price. He just really liked me. We just gravitated towards each other, and he liked what I was doing, and he wanted to help me out. And he's like, I'll give them to you for just over cost. Like, I don't need to make anything on these. He's like, I want you to build some stuff with this. And so I did. I started building some stuff, and I got that first job with Duville using those pieces in that Minerva room. And then I was thinking, like, I want to cut out the middleman. Like, I don't want to have to go to him.
Frank Lucas. Yeah.
I want to go to the supplier himself. And what's crazy is he actually called, because I asked him for more slabs, and he called me. He's like, I might be getting out of this business. He's like, so if I do, I want to introduce you to my supplier. And what's crazy is I found out later that he only had done one order from that supplier. He bought a bunch of wood, but he only did one order. So him and his wife actually went to Costa Rica. They got the wood. They came back. They had one order, and he was just finishing up his last order. So what he did is, he's like, I'll sell you the rest of my inventory for at cost. And I didn't buy the whole inventory. I bought a good amount of it. And he ended up selling the rest of it to a friend of his, and gave the contact information for the supplier to his friend, in between him and I talking.
Okay.
He did this on the side. So his friend bought the inventory and thought that he was going to be then purchasing the wood and selling it just like he was. But he wasn't really making much furniture with it. He was just buying the wood, selling it, selling it to guys like me.
Okay.
So he wasn't really looking. He did some tables here and there, but that really wasn't his thing. So in between him giving me the contact information, because he's like, I want to go out to dinner with you. You're going to treat me to some steak.
Okay.
I'm going to call my supplier with you, introduce you guys, and then you'll be able to roll from there. Before that even happened, which is super ironic, I got an email from his supplier because he only made one order. So I own a territory. So I buy enough from that supplier, he won't sell it to anyone else in my territory. So that's why I'm literally the only person with that wood, because he can't sell it to anyone else because I own territory, which is pretty cool.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
So he emailed me, and he's like, hey, your territory your area just opened up. I see that you sell exotic wood, or you make some stuff with exotic wood. What's funny is he didn't even know that the slabs that I was using were his slabs. His slabs. So it was super ironic how it worked out. Because I had just posted those pictures from the U-Ville using those slabs. And like I said, he didn't even know that those were from him originally. He didn't know where I got them from. I mean, I'm sure he might have assumed that I got them from them. But anyways, he emailed me and I called him. And I started talking to him. His name is John. And after talking to him for about half an hour, I was booking flights to go to Costa Rica. So he's like, I want to fly you down. I'm going to put you in a hotel room. You're going to come to our facility. You'll take maybe 1 or 2 days to go through the inventory, make sure you can inspect each piece, and make a final checklist. But before coming down, what I want you to do is I want you to go through this digital inventory. So there's pictures of these Costa Rican guys holding each slab up with an invoice number on it. And he's like, I want you to make a list of the ones you want. So I did that. I flew down. And he had all my slabs. They even said on the side of them, Zack Buffalo. They were all in their own piles. I spent 2 days going through the inventory. And I would have a yes, no, no pile. Or yes pile, no pile, rather. And eventually I had my own pile. And then I was like, I want more. So I started going around, which is also just like with the last business, I could never just like do something normal. Like I'm just over the top.
I was gonna say, just even being the fact that you went to Costa Rica to get the wood from the supplier to pick them is not normal.
No, but I like to have my hands in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I could cut out a middleman, I want people to make their money. I would never try to learn how to be an amazing fabricator to cut out my fabricators. Mm-hmm. Because I'm only one guy. I gotta let people shine in their own way.
Yeah.
And so, but if I see something like a middleman for selling me lumber, I can cut him out. What the hell do you have to sell me lumber when I can go to the actual lumber mill?
Yeah.
In Costa Rica.
Very true.
So I made the yes pile, no pile. Then I went around, picked out a bunch of other pieces that I wanted. Some really that big root system that you see when you walk in. Those kind of pieces. And I was like, I want that.
The Lion King, I always say, that's what Lion King.
Yeah. So, the piece was amazing. But basically, I got about 12,000 board foot of wood. And prior to flying down there,
board foot of wood?
Board foot. Wood's calculated in board foot.
Okay.
So you know how I said square foot is 1 foot by 1 foot?
Yeah.
Board foot accounts for the thickness also.
Okay. So it's probably a little bit smaller. Is it smaller or bigger? Is it?
It's just measured differently. It's a totally different type of measurement.
Okay.
So a 1 foot by 1 foot, that only calculates a 2-dimensional surface.
Yeah.
It doesn't account for the thickness of it.
Okay.
But a piece of wood could be 1 inch thick, 2 inch thick, 3, 4, whatever. So that also has to be calculated for cost.
Okay.
So that's the way they calculate it.
And heavy.
The wood I have?
Yeah.
It's really heavy. Yeah. It's crazy how heavy some of those pieces are. But anyways, so I before going down there, I wired them. I'm not gonna say the amount, but a handsome amount. I took a risk again, just like I did with the Chinese suppliers. Mm-hmm. I, without even seeing this wood in person, I sent a wire over with several zeros that was pretty nerve-wracking. Mm-hmm. And I was taking a chance. But I was willing to because I had been purchasing wood from a guy that already did business with him.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should be fine here. And anyway, so I got down there, did that whole ordeal, and then I just vacationed for the next few days. I went surfing, was hanging out on the beach. But every night I'd go home or back to the Airbnb and I would communicate with them. They'd send me over some stuff like, hey, do you want this? And then ultimately I went home. They filled the container, shipping container, 40-foot shipping container, and then they fumigated it. So after the whole thing's banded together and put in the container, they have a guy go in there with a big mask on, like a hazmat suit basically, and they fumigate everything so no insects can come back to the U.S. Yeah.
Wow.
So then it goes across sea, all the way to the New York City port, and then I have a trucking company go pick it up from there. And just like with the components that I did with Apex from China, I had to pay the importing fees, all that kind of thing. So a lot of people, when they see like, oh my God, your table's 10 grand, like they don't account for the fact that, first of all, I handpicked this in Costa Rica. I physically picked this, I went around this piece of wood, made sure it was straight, made sure it had a lot of figure in it, and I hand selected each piece. It's then shipped back. I had to pay all those importing duty fees. And by the way, for the listeners, like the tree huggers out there, like I don't believe in just like cutting down trees.
Yeah.
What's cool about all the lumber I have is they come from endangered species rainforests. So they're like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. Well, the trees that are cut down were all showing signs of diseasing.
Okay.
So they might have been
on their way out.
Interior rotting. There might have been marks on the bark showing that it was having some kind of growths or disease or whatever. And a diseased tree, just like COVID, can infect the people around it or the trees around it.
Yeah.
So they would safely extract that tree. Or if the tree was leaning over, it was going to fall over and hit another tree, a healthy one, or whatever. Those are the trees that they go through a series of documentation to make sure that, like, hey, is there sloths living in this tree? Is there monkeys living in it? Kind of thing. They have to go through all that stuff, safely remove it.
It's stuff we don't think about.
Exactly.
Fern Gully.
Yeah, and I have to, like, that's all worked into the price of the lumber that I get because it's not a tree in New York State that fell over in a windstorm and then someone just chopped it up and sold. Like, it's not like that. Like,
has a story.
A lot goes into it. Yeah, and what's really cool is I'm sure you've noticed those metal plates on the sides of all my. So those are the actual inventory tags that they have on there. And when I sell a table, like I just did yesterday to a client, I give the tag with original pictures from Costa Rica of the slab. And I even give them a picture of the log that it came from. So they could see, like, here's the log in Costa Rica. Here's it cut down as a slab. And I take progress pictures as I'm building it, send it to them, and then they get the tag ultimately too. So I had a client recently that I built a dining table for them. They got like a frame for the wall, and they put all those pictures, almost like a timeline, and then the tag at the bottom. And it looks really cool because it's a perfect conversation piece. When you have company over, they ask about this table and you could point and talk about it.
Yep.
So it's really cool. So I do my best to inform all of my clients with all the information about the trees, where they came from, the height of the trees.
Well, they need to know the history behind it.
Yeah.
Because as I go, I've seen some of the slabs, and I'm just like, I've lifted some of the slabs with you, and these are, like, when you think about these, we see little trees outside. These are not. I would love to see the actual tree this came from, because I honestly, I was born in Houston. Moved to Cape Cod, moved here. I've never seen a tree that big. Probably in my life. I honestly, I've never seen a tree that big.
The only people that see trees that big in the U.S. are like the sequoias and stuff in California, where you can drive through them and stuff, or the redwoods, the sequoias. But those are the only trees in the U.S. that grow to like that size. And those are actually bigger. In California, they're bigger than the ones.
Really?
Yeah. Those trees are hundreds and hundreds of feet tall. They could be, I could be wrong here, but I believe they could grow like 20 feet plus in diameter, some of them. I could be wrong, but I've seen them where they have actual tunnels cut out where vehicles could drive right through the center of the tree. They're so big. But besides those trees, these are, I have the largest slabs in New York State, period. They're massive, and I make sure.
Massive.
I make sure to set my set, like, it's one thing to have exotic wood, but to have exotic wood of that size, and I have so many different species, it really sets me apart from, when people come to me because they want that. They don't come to me because they want a table. Like, can you make me a table? No, they see what I produce, and they're like, no, I want that. So they have to come to me for that.
Yeah.
And that's
like
what
you
I
said,
really
the
like.
territory too.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into the whole exotic wood thing. I now have 5,000 square foot of showroom / workshop space off in Hertel in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of created like a really cool experience, in my opinion, at least. You walk in, you see to your right a bunch of finished pieces surrounded by,
The raw slab.
all the raw slabs around the whole perimeter of the shop, and then the whole left side is my actual wood shop.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the pieces being worked on gradually up until the finished piece. That's to the right. So yeah, it's really cool. It's super rewarding. There's a lot goes into it. I tend to like spread myself out a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get my toes wet with everything I possibly can. And as far as like a business aspect goes, I don't recommend that, but it's just how I operate.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I was
You can put
if
more
I
on your
was-
plate because you'll take care of it, but not everybody can do that.
Yeah, if I was strictly business
Mhm.
and that's it, and I didn't care about this, accent walls would be a no-brainer. I could be booked out solid for years with those
Yeah.
and just be making stupid money.
Cashing out.
Yeah, really good money. But I fall in love with each piece I make. Like I really do, and that's what my supplier told me not to do, because he could tell the way I talked about the wood.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I can tell you're one of those guys that loves this. Like when I'm working on a table, I'm looking at, I want this in my house. Like I want almost every piece in my house. And it shows because like I put such attention to detail that no one would ever think about. Like if you looked under my table, like this table base, for instance, if this base was to be underneath one of my wood slabs,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be able to see this lip all the way around. I would route a slot under the table so that this sat in and sat flush. Like so you would never see the screws. Like you wouldn't be able to feel it. Like everything sits inset and flush. And like that's something I don't have to do at all, but I just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like no one cares about the screws that hold your table together. But I pre-drill all my holes and I put a stainless steel threaded insert into the wood, and I have a powder coated steel flathead screw that then goes into that, so that sits nice and flush. And like those are just little details that like I like to do because when I look at my finished piece, I'm like, damn, like it can't get better. Like the slab fits over the base, not just sits on top of. It sits over, like it fits like a puzzle.
And to us, that sounds extra.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you be perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's your product.
Yeah.
And you put it out to the world.
And I take a lot of, and like I said before, looking back at like those, that the dog crate I bought.
Yeah.
And I bought it back from him and I smashed it because that to me isn't up to par anymore.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, like that's what I was able to produce. And that's fine, But as I've gotten better, I know I could produce such a better product than that. So I don't want my name attached to that, And I want everything that I build things to last generations at this point. Like that's kind of like my motto.
It's like your kids.
I want my kids' to be able to say like that's my great grandfather's. Yeah, that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of sperm.
That's
You're
sick.
gonna break it down like that, but yeah, that's a lot.
I didn't think we were going there, but
every now and then, I mean, we're gonna really break it down. That's what happens.
it's a lot of sperm.
I mean, we're gonna pivot because I do want to get some more out of you before you have to go.
Yeah.
This is a question that we've honestly, my good friend Al, obviously a business partner, throws around all the time, and I'm conflicted with it. And it's just a question. Do you believe entrepreneurship is in certain people's DNA? Or do you believe that anyone can do it if they put their mind to it? Because I'll tell you mine after, but I want to know what you think.
I have two perspectives. I think it's circumstantial. Yeah, for sure. Because I think a lot of that has to do with your upbringing.
Yeah, it does.
At least for me.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I think certain people are born with it. Yes.
Mhm.
Like I don't think just seeing my parents struggle growing up, that's not the only reason why I've been like that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of people like that. My best friend Chris, that also grew up with the same circumstances as me, he is the same way. He's a business owner. He grinds. So comparing just him and I, we grew up with those tougher circumstances and saw our parents struggle, and that gives us that extra grit.
Yeah, to make it happen.
And I think that has a lot to do with it. Do I think anyone can become an entrepreneur? Not everyone. Not everyone's made for it.
Okay.
Not everyone's made for it. But I think just about anybody could start something. I mean, I think the type of business is plays a factor too.
Yeah, of course.
Plays a
It's
factor
gotta
because
fit with who they are.
you know, let's say some computer nerd, could start a computer selling business.
Yeah.
You know, he might not have an entrepreneurial bone in his body, no selling, and there's no grit to him at all. But could he sell computers and have a computer business? Yeah. Yeah. Does it mean he's gonna be like savage and like take it to like a Grant Cardone level?
Mhm.
No, because I think certain people, I think almost anyone could have a business, but to really thrive and excel and do what it takes to have a business grow.
Mhm.
I'll use mine for example, like the risks I took to grow from accent walls to like me sending out that big wire transfer.
Yeah.
Like that would make people sick, like physically ill, like taking the chance of sending out that much, because I just turned 26. I was 24 when I did that. That's a lot of money.
To someone you don't know.
A lot of money
To a different country.
to a different country, to a bank account. Like you've never even met this guy. You literally just know his name. And the website, there was like nothing to it. Like it seemed like a sketchy website, everything. But like it takes a certain type of person, I think, to be willing to do what it takes.
To take the risk.
Yeah.
It's honestly a tough question. It's loaded as well, because I mean,
It is, because there's so many different factors that can play a part. Like, I have a crazy, for whatever reason, I don't even know why, but like I have a crazy work ethic.
Mhm.
And my little sister Marissa,
ridiculous.
I'm seeing my sister Marissa, she has the same thing. She does. Because I started Florella Design with her.
Okay.
It's a company that came up with her where we rent out event decor. So weddings, birthday parties, bridal showers, gender reveals. So we do flower wall backdrops. But she's got like the grit.
Grit.
She saw my parents struggle and she doesn't want that, and she's gonna do really well, I could tell. But like my sister Christina, no offense to her at all, she's a bookworm. Amazing student.
So is my sister.
Amazing
Shout out to
student.
Destiny.
Shout out Destiny.
You a bookworm though.
Yeah, you are.
You do all right though. You doing well.
You
Shout out
ain't
to
like
Jason,
us.
too.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
You still make good money. It's not a
different.
problem.
My sister
You know?
Christina, like I said, she's gonna be a pharmacist
Mm-hmm.
next year. I mean, they start
Which
off.
takes a lot.
They start off at like 140 grand.
Yeah, ain't no
a
problem
year.
with that.
Not killing them.
No.
But could she's by the book.
Mhm.
She won't break rules, right? Like she is to the T a good girl. Like our parents, like the proud child kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like she does everything. Like you don't have to worry about Christina. Marissa and I, you gotta worry about us. You know?
Little wild card.
Yeah, we're wild cards for sure.
Wild cards make life interesting though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're fun. But the work ethic, like I can't say that everyone would be willing to sleep on a dirty shop table in a warehouse in the middle of the night, and then go right back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just not in everybody, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
You know, like school's not for everyone.
Nope.
Like we need tradesmen. We need they're just there's just people are different. You know,
That's what I was trying to portray with this. Honestly, whatever you call it, video or a podcast, because it is true. People are built different. Whatever makes you tick, you can be successful in any way.
Yeah.
But and this is not just for entrepreneurs or business people. It's for anyone who wants to be the best at what they do.
Yeah.
And that's truly what it is. Just if you're the best at what you do, you can be the best at helping people.
100%.
You can be the best at serving. You can be the best at anything you do. But there's many people who are built different in many different ways.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through something I'm gonna call the Rolling Stone round.
Okay.
And it's gonna be quick. Like whatever answer you give is the exact answer you mean.
All right.
Okay. So whiskey or tequila?
Neither. Can I give it neither? Can I break the rules instantly?
For the first question, I was not expecting it to be neither. Was it vodka?
Dude, so the Fredonia days, I went to, I'm gonna go on, veer off real quick. I went to like one of those MTV spring break college things.
Yeah, dudes.
With everyone from Fredonia.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 40 of us. I just went with all of them, Vinny, all of them.
Oh.
And 9 in the morning, we're drinking tequila. At 9 a.m. in the pool, 8 a.m. maybe. And I remember I got really sick the one day. So now when I even smell tequila, it like, and whiskey, all my friends, like a lot of my friends love whiskey and they're like wine snobs. I don't like scotch, I don't like whiskey, I don't like wine.
Really?
I like Moscow Mules, I like EBC Blueberry Beer.
I do.
I like Corona Lights. I like
Kevin shaking his head like, yeah.
I like mojitos.
Yes.
I like hot tea.
I like hot tea too. I got lemon lips right over there.
I go. It's funny. My friends make fun of me. I'll go out to get drinks with people, like my friends. We'll go out to a steakhouse or whatever it may be, and I'll get one Moscow Mule, and I go. They're like, "Don't do it." I'm like, "Shut up." I'll take an Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey with some honey.
Earl Grey.
I'll be out. My boys will be drinking scotch or wine. I'm drinking Earl Grey tea.
That's the truth, though.
That's what
Earl Grey with some honey, ain't no problem with it.
Ain't no problem.
You got a little caffeine. I mean, they make it decaffeinated, but why do that anyway?
No. Have you ever tried cream of Earl Grey?
No.
So when I went to Banff in Banff, Alberta, and British Columbia, for whatever reason in Canada, they have cream of Earl Grey. It's like a thing now.
Cream of Earl
It
Grey.
is unreal. I get that on Amazon. Shout out Amazon. It's so good.
Jeff, hit us up.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, text me.
Please. You ain't
Buy a table from me.
Or 7.
Yeah, 17,000.
Yeah, for real. Wouldn't even make a dent.
No.
Yeah.
No. But yeah. Anyways, so I'll say tequila.
Tequila?
Yeah. If because
I
had to take a tequila shot recently. I saw a couple of friends of mine at a bar, and they had just been bought a tequila shot, and they both took one, and I saw this kid Kurt really make this nasty face. I could tell he hated it.
Yeah.
I could tell he hated it. So I bought 2 more tequila shots for him. I sent them over to him, and he's like, "No, you're not gonna do that unless you take one yourself." So he ordered 2 for us, and I was like, "Shit, Jeremy and I." So I ended up taking one, and I hated it, but I think I would have preferred that over
whiskey.
Over whiskey, I think. Depends on the
I'm
whiskey.
a tequila man now. You see Evan Williams and Jack Daniels all throughout college.
Fireballs.
It is a whiskey. I can't stand it.
See, I would probably do Fireball then.
All right.
I'd probably do Fireball. Yeah.
We'll let you
I would do
We used to do
Fireball.
Fireball and Ice 101 back to back. Peppermint schnapps and cinnamon.
Yeah.
Not a good idea,
No.
but for some reason it made sense back then. You get fire and ice.
I never
Makes
drank.
sense.
I was always the DD for years. I didn't start drinking actually until camp.
Really?
So, yeah, until I started hanging out with all them.
Life.
Yeah, the Fredonia life. So
couldn't be around without.
no, I didn't really start drinking till then. So, but right before that, my buddy Chuck bet me. He's like, "I bet you $100 you can't take 10 shots in a row of Fireball without throwing up." And I didn't
Good,
drink,
man.
and I did it. And I got that $100. Yeah. And I was hammered in like 5 minutes.
I would've failed.
I didn't throw up.
Yeah, I would have failed.
I remember asking, I was like, dude, you have to take me to McDonald's or something. I need food in my stomach before, like, you know, and
Before you
I,
use all your
and
ice.
I kept it down. I kept it down. So, yeah, so Fireball.
So Fireball.
Because I've done it.
So technically, it's whiskey.
Whiskey.
It's
I
whiskey.
guess technically it's
So we
whiskey.
switched answers.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought this was supposed to be
It is quick.
I messed it up.
The last song you played on repeat.
Oh, this is gonna be funny. I play songs every single day on repeat, over and over when I work. It might have been Interstellar, the piano version. I listen to piano on repeat for hours.
Like dramatic piano?
Right here on my phone. Like, yeah, I'll even play it for the listener.
While you're playing it, I'm gonna keep going.
Alright, yeah.
Denzel or Will Smith?
Will Smith, favorite actor.
I told you he was gonna say Will Smith.
Favorite actor, always has it.
Denzel.
Okay, We Move Lightly.
We move lightly.
This
Is it
is no. I don't know if they can hear this.
We might be able to, especially with the mic.
Yeah.
This is on repeat.
3, 4, 5, 6 hours.
When we listen to "Walk 'Em Down" by Annalie Chopin, you know, like that's like just some hood. But I'm at the gym, just play on repeat.
This is what I listen to
This is
on
way
my
too
work.
peaceful. This is like a dead mouse sample.
It builds up. I love it. I really do. I listen to my buddy Mo and I both listen to piano like all the time.
Shout out to Mo. We're gonna meet.
Shout out to Mo.
I've heard Mo's name plenty of times. Mo, I gotta meet you sometime.
Yeah. I listen. Oh, you know what? Unthinkable by Alicia Keys.
Oh, of course.
Love that song. I listen to that on repeat.
Will Smith over Denzel?
100%.
Is that because the book you read, or is it just because
No,
Denzel
I've
is-
ever since Fresh
we're watching
Prince
Fresh Prince? earlier?
growing up, he's always been my favorite actor since I was little. Yeah.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Pie?
Yeah.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
Dishes.
Really?
Laundry's nothing. I do a load of laundry. I change 3 times a day, typically. So I have for one person, I have a lot of laundry.
Yeah.
So it takes. All I do is I walk in the house, take my clothes off, throw it in the washer. I don't have a dirty hamper bin. It goes right to the washing machine. So I let it build up. And once I see that it's like ready for a load, toss the pot in, press start. Laundry's so nothing to me.
I wish.
And
no
when
laundry.
I take out
It's not
it out of the dryer, I walk into my room, throw it on my bed, and I just organize it quick, throw it on my I hate dishes. I have a dishwasher.
I hate dishes too.
I have a dishwasher, but even like rinsing the dishes, and I hate like pans because I like to cook a lot.
Yeah.
I hate washing pans. I hate it.
I have to clean them after I do them.
I
Like
hate it.
every morning, I have to clean them dirty
Yeah.
once. Burgers or tacos?
Tacos. 100%. Shrimp tacos.
Shrimp tacos.
Shrimp.
Fancy
Yeah,
now.
fish tacos. I'm a
Okay.
big taco guy. Yeah.
Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Lamborghini.
Woo! That was quick. Crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Smooth.
All right. Cooking or being cooked for?
Being cooked for 100%.
Really? Even with your steaks? Because I see these steaks. It's like Fred Flintstone shit.
I cook
They're
some.
pretty-
I
they're
cook some
pretty
killer
good.
ribeyes.
Yeah.
No, I do like cooking a lot, but like if a female cooks for me,
Mhm.
and my mom always says the way to Zach's heart is through his stomach.
Food?
Through his
Yeah.
stomach. Yeah. So
So like
like,
Desmond's too.
yeah, ladies.
Yeah.
No, I. You know, like there's the love languages.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to
Um,
read that book.
yeah.
That book, yeah.
I when a girl cooks for me, when she takes the time to cook for me, like I really appreciate that. I
Okay.
really do. And even if
It's not that good.
you know what, I've never had a girl like not cook well.
Okay.
You know, I've had some meals that are like nothing special.
Yeah.
But
Then
I've been
like,
I've been blessed with some good cooks. Yeah. And I don't know, that's just something I really truly appreciate. Like especially if I you know my workload. If I
Yeah.
come home
and there's food
and
ready.
I'm exhausted, there's a home cooked meal. I appreciate that so much. Like the girl has I'll say it over and over again, but they have no idea how much I actually appreciate that.
Okay.
You know?
So every woman watching, remember that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you can chef up,
Yeah.
this man will love you for it.
Yeah. I do. I really love being cooked for.
Okay.
So,
Chess or checkers?
chess. Mo and I actually just started playing chess the other night.
Really?
We're gonna start doing that like once a week. Yeah.
Now, what age did you learn how to play chess?
Cam taught me.
Really?
Yeah. So late in life.
Because I still know how to play chess. I can only play checkers. I can't play.
You should play. It's really good for the mind. Checkers.
Forever.
Checkers is you don't have to think too much.
No.
You don't have to plan moves ahead. Chess is awesome. So probably 20 years old, 21 maybe even like 22.
Okay.
So yeah, and I hadn't played until, it's funny that you just asked that. I hadn't played until last week for years. So I just started playing again last week.
Okay.
And I love it. I really
Back
do.
at it.
Yeah.
Hurricane or blizzard?
Hurricane or blizzard? Blizzard.
Blizzard?
Like an actual snow. We're talking about.
I've been in both.
I've never experienced a hurricane, but I love blizzards. I like today, all the snow, I love it.
That's built different.
I
I know
built
anyone
different.
who loves a blizzard.
I
I
love
can't stand the cold.
if I walked out and there was 5 feet of snow, I'd be so fired up. I'd
It's
be
like
so
a said
happy.
no one ever type of
Yeah,
thing.
I it's pretty. It's pretty.
Oh, it's pretty until you
It's
do
fun to drive in.
it. Oh, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like
Like I like to just drift like a, I even in my truck, like I don't know, I like plowing through snow. Like I really do. I love snow. I do.
I enjoy it.
I hate one of the reasons why I hate Buffalo is because it's so gloomy
Yeah.
and like depressing in the winter, and it smells weird. It's a shithole. No. But
Smells like cereal.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like the slushy, nasty, salty parking lots and everything, like you brush against your truck and like your car and your legs covered in salt and like I hate that. But when it's like a whiteout continuously, like if we had this for the whole winter, I'd love it. I would freaking love it. Yeah.
That's different.
Except besides the wet socks.
Yeah, I double up on my socks today.
Like I wore my sneakers here and getting out of the truck, like my socks got damp. I don't like that.
For those who don't
I
know, we
still-
got about a little over a foot today in the city, and it only dropped in the city. This man lives, 20 minutes away?
I live
Like
25
1
minutes
inch?
away. Not even. I woke up this morning,
That's
insane. Walked out, opened my door, and I was like, I thought we were supposed to get a snowstorm. The sun was out. There was not a single flake anywhere. I was like, that's weird. So I went to call my friend Chris, who has a snowplow business,
Mhm.
landscape business, and he didn't answer because I wanted to ask him like, hey, did it snow anywhere else? And he must have been busy. I still haven't talked to him yet. He called me a little while ago, but I haven't talked to him yet today. And so I got in my truck, started driving. I drove about 20 minutes, and I started seeing a little bit of snow, like a dusting. And as I drove more and more downtown, I was like, holy shit. Like, they got pounded with snow. I was jealous.
Woke up at 5:25, nothing. By 6:30, there was 6 inches.
That's wild.
Literally.
1
6
hour.
inches.
That
1
was
hour.
pounded.
And it
Love
started
it.
at 6.
Love it.
That's how fast.
So Lake Tahoe right now, on the sides of the road, they have like 7 feet. Love it. I want that. I want it to have walls of snow. I love it.
I don't know.
I really do. Your dog loves it.
Yeah, I know dude loves it. I need to go somewhere else. I'm telling you, Texas would be nice. Earthquake or tsunami?
These are weird questions.
Earthquake. Why? Earthquake? Or
Earthquake.
tsunami?
Yeah.
I can run away from a wave. I can't run away from the earthquake. If I hear that siren, I'm like, oh, I gotta ask you a weird question.
I like it. I
We gotta
like
have
it.
something.
I mean, I'm like, you're asking me which natural disaster I like, yeah,
Just tell
I
me
totally get down with tornadoes. Like, there's
It'd be what, tornado versus
I would pick tornado over all of them. No,
That's the
I
one.
like blizzard. Tornadoes are cool.
I don't even know what tornado would be up against. Yeah.
I would like
Earthquake
to.
or
I would like
tsunami?
to see a massive. Like that's on like my bucket list, which is weird. I want to see a massive tornado, like a massive one, and I want to run away from it successfully.
That's like a
If it takes me out, that'd be a
bad dream.
cool way to go.
It's like a bad dream.
But my uncle who owns all the exotic tigers and animals and stuff, he lives in Oklahoma. They get some nasty
they get
ones.
tornadoes. Yeah.
And
It's like
isn't it
Tornado
kinda-
Valley.
Isn't it kind of crazy to think actually that depending on where you live, you experience just like
Different natural
like
disasters.
someone in Texas has never experienced this.
No.
I mean, they had that crazy ice storm last year, but like
Yeah,
they don't
this
experience
ain't
that.
nice.
And like
I gotta go outside and
don't
actually
get we don't
move.
get hurricanes or tornadoes really. Like it's just weird that
Depending
you
on where
go
live.
south in the U.S. and you just experience like different types of weather as you go. And it's kind of bizarre.
It is.
Yeah.
Speaking of bucket list, I will ride a bull. one day.
That's on mine. That's on mine.
They won't let me do it here in New York.
Yeah.
I sign waivers and eligibility. They won't let me do it. I will ride a bull.
I was going to in Oklahoma this year. Yeah.
Ride a bull?
Yeah.
Like a bucking bull?
Like an actual.
I
I
will
want.
ride a
and with-
bucking bull.
And if you know me, I want the biggest, baddest, most dangerous bull they have.
Yep.
That's the one I want. I want the thing clamped around his nuts. I want him to be just. I want him to want to throw me through the roof.
All you have to do is, I mean, not all. I mean, no disrespect to any people, because I watch PBR all the time. 8 seconds? 8 seconds is all I gotta do?
I can do that.
I can do 8 seconds.
Yeah.
8 seconds? In my arm, I can do 8 seconds though. It might fall off. But like, these bulls, I believe I can do 8 seconds.
Yeah.
That's
I've
all I
never
can say.
even rode a mechanical bull. Have you?
Oh yeah,
See, I've never done
it ain't the same. I mean, I would have been.
it. I know.
It ain't the
There's
same.
no way it's the
But
same.
either way.
No, there's no way they could replicate that.
So we got roller coaster or boating.
Or boating?
Or boating. Like riding on a fast boat. Roller
Boating.
coaster.
Boating. Yeah, I used to like roller coasters when I was little, but they don't really do anything for me anymore because I've driven so much faster in cars and stuff.
Oh, you have not been. You have not been to
I've been on the top wheel dragster and stuff like that.
boating. I can see you liking boating.
I like boating. I like to jump off boats, swim a little bit, be in the sun. Like boating's fun. I like to wakeboard.
Yeah.
Boating's fun.
Yeah.
I like boating.
All right.
Yeah.
To be able to fly or to breathe underwater.
Ooh, I like these questions. Now these are getting better. Fly, 100%.
Fly? Not breathe
Yeah.
underwater?
Yeah, I mean I throw oxygen. I scuba dive all the time. I scuba dive next week. All I do is throw an oxygen tank out.
Oh, this is cheating. I'm talking about fully made. You literally can breathe underwater to go any depth you want to.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Because I just throw a double oxygen tank out, like 2 tanks.
Scuba diving scares the fuck out of me.
It's
I won't even
it's
lie.
I'll say it's intimidating for sure, the concept of it. But once you're down there, it is the most peaceful thing I've ever experienced. I was actually just talking about this the other day. I won't go on too much of a tangent, but you have your flotation device in your actual like your whole like oxygen system and everything. You've got like I'm trying to think of the word.
And a safety vest.
But you could deflate and inflate so you could go up or down the water. So
Yeah.
when you go down, you gotta decompress, you gotta blow still to release the pressure. But once you go down there, I like to remove all of the buoyancy so that I'm basically just like on the ocean floor. And obviously there's gravity there's gravity down there,
Yeah.
but you don't really feel gravity acting. So I kind of walk on the ocean floor with my fingertips in the sand, and I'm basically just like an inch off the floor with my chest, and I just kind of like just barely stride like this, and I just crawl on the ocean floor, and it's so peaceful. It sounds weird, but like if all these coral reefs are next to you, and you're that low, the perspective you get is amazing, because you're looking at the coral reef, and then it goes up all the way to like sunlight above,
Yeah.
but you can see like eels underneath the
I was
coral.
gonna say this all sounds
You
fine
see crabs.
if there was nothing else around me. This all sounds fine.
Yeah.
If there was no other like fish,
The-
animals, nothing that could kill me
Yeah.
around me. But the fact that I'm down there and there's stuff that we probably don't even know about yet
Yeah.
that I could be experiencing, that's some scary shit.
I don't know. Once you're down there, the perspective, at least I have when I'm down there, especially like just like crawling on the ocean floor, it's like the most humbling, relaxing, like captivating experience. Like it's just all the colors, the fish. Like fish will swim by you, and they will be totally transparent, where you can see their organs inside of them. Like you see their intestines, their heart. Like you'll see a fish, and it's completely clear. And you see all of its organs inside, and then another fish will go by and it's got these crazy colors. A puffer fish might go by you, a barracuda with its teeth hanging out.
Nah. And it still makes you want to fly.
An
in the
octopus.
water.
Yeah, dude, flying would be unreal. Unreal.
I mean, it would
I've
be.
skydived.
Yeah, I'm not.
I've flown a plane. Yeah, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd have my pilot's license right now. I was working to get my pilot's license. But like being able to fly would be unbelievable. I went in a chopper through the mountains in Kauai, and going low through the mountains. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what that would be like without the actual helicopter around me. Yeah, for sure. That over anything. Yeah.
Being able to fly. And this would be the last question, which goes back to, it's the last question.
Okay.
Where does Zack see himself in business? And then you gotta keep it to concise, you know. But where do you see yourself in business in 3 to 5 years? Where do you see yourself in personal 3 to 5 years?
That's tough.
Loaded. Oh, I know.
That's a loaded question.
But I know you have the vision as well.
It's loaded for me specifically, I think, right now, because when I started those accent walls, I had no idea then I'd be in the position I am now.
Yep.
Like I had zero inkling in me that would transpire. Nothing. I also had no idea that the tailgate tables were going to transpire into the accent walls.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've done so much in the past 3 years outside, like just traveling, all the places I travel and stuff. Like, shit. As far as business goes, as far as Wiseowl specifically, I guess, 3 to 5 years. Okay, so I'm working on right now. I have a business concept that I'm looking at a spot in Elkville right now. It might work out, might not. But I want to put luxury lifestyle showrooms throughout the country. So I want you to walk in and see finished pieces of mine, furnished pieces. As well, I love art. I've always been to drawing, stuff like that. I love it. And I think my stuff is functional art. And it is. You know, you can look at it in all different perspectives. So what I see is walking into a very luxurious feeling space filled with my furniture. I have high-end paintings on the walls, really cool sculptures that are centerpieces on my tables and next to them, like really cool stuff like that. Maybe like an area with some tufted leather couches. We can sit down and talk to somebody in regards to a custom piece for your home or business. So I want to have something like that nationwide. I also really want to have a speakeasy or multiple. I don't know what it is about it.
But yeah.
That business, the property I'm looking at in Elkville right now, if it was to hypothetically go through, it's going to have a luxury lifestyle showroom and a speakeasy under it. So you'll have to go through.
Which for Ellicottville, if people don't know where I'm from, this area, that's perfect.
Yes.
For Ellicottville.
It'll be a high-end cocktail lounge and cigar lounge. I don't even smoke cigars.
Oh, I do.
But you walk through this high-end, luxurious, like, feeling room, and then you go into this hidden door down, and, like, it's going to draw people in for the speakeasy, but those people that, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to categorize people as, like, that class of people, but that type of person that wants to go there is going to be more susceptible to buying that stuff, you know?
Yep.
So if they're going to, like, a high-class, like, cigar lounge kind of thing, those kind of people are going to walk through that showroom and be visually seen before going down there.
Their houses and their businesses.
Yeah, and vice versa. The people that are going in there to look at that, like, oh shit, you have a speakeasy, cigar lounge downstairs. So I think those would work really well. And then they'd have Airbnbs. It's a really good investment property. So there's space for 3 Airbnb stays for 3 different families, a barbershop space. Like it's a really multifunctional property. So I'd like to really have a speakeasy. When I had Apex, the tailgate, I'm really into outdoors, hiking, stuff like that. Yep. So during that time, I started selling those thermoses that you're familiar with.
Yep.
But I was working on outdoor clothing company. You ever see me? I'm wearing Lululemon on everything I wear is Lululemon. I like the feeling of it. I like that there's no visible logos really. Like I like the fitment, everything about it. So I wanted to start my own when I had that business. I'm working on right now. I told you when I first came here. I'm working on a concept I'm not going to talk about right now because I don't know if or when it's going to happen. But I'd like to have a really sleek, masculine kind of like clothing line, maybe potentially. And I'd like to have my own sawmill. So you know how I like to cut out middlemen?
Yep.
I would like to have my own sawmill in maybe Brazil, Costa Rica, wherever it may be. So I think that'd be really cool. So I love to travel, and the fact that I get to travel for business is amazing. And aside from that, I like to build resorts. So you know how I'm doing restaurants, stuff like that. I want to get a call saying, "Hey, we're building a new sandals resort
Yeah,
in
Margaritaville.
in wherever.
Yeah.
I want you to design and build it." So I fly down to maybe Negril, Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and it's filled with Wiseowl furniture, and it's custom built aesthetically. All the accent walls, the everything is done, designed and built by me and my company. So 3 to 5 years, that's where I see myself.
That's a vision. Because I do want to reiterate for everyone, it does make a difference when you have a vision.
Yeah,
You know what you're
it
working
doesn't
for.
matter. It doesn't even matter if I fly a different way and end up doing something completely different.
Yeah.
But I've got my eye on bigger goals.
Yep.
And I'm always thinking bigger. That's why the accent walls, after a couple months, that's boring. Like I'm always, and that's not even a good thing for everybody. It's not. Because some people excel most when they stay in their lane,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really good at this one thing, run with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the mind like me where you constantly have to be doing something different, that's probably a good thing for most people. It is. But someone like me, I like to, like I said, get my toes wet in as many things as possible. And I'm taking piano lessons right now. And I want to learn how to play it. It's weird, but I want to learn how to play the piano. I like to learn and be able to do as much stuff as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So
Well,
that's
having life
just
is learning.
that's just how my mind works. Like I listen to piano at work. I'm like, I want to learn how to play that. Like that'd be nice. You know, I want to get as far away from this phone as I can. I'm really bad with being on my phone too much, especially at night. I
I
come
can't even
home,
imagine that. I can't imagine that about you.
right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect
No.
it, but I'm really bad at. I love Instagram. Like I like looking at photos. I watch woodworking videos. Like I might be looking at stuff that's educating me and relevant, but you know I am scrolling at Lamborghini videos and stuff like that. That's doing nothing positive for my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's so many times where I wish I went to bed at like let's say 10:30, but I was on my phone scrolling until 10:50 or whatever. That extra time is like I should just be doing that. So I thought if I got myself like a piano or something,
Mm-hmm.
or I can't read at night. I can't. I'll read 2 pages and I'll fall asleep, or which isn't a bad thing. Or I'll read 10 pages and not retain any of the information. So I wish I could read at night, but I just can't. I've tried. So if I could like play the piano or something relaxing that like naturally puts my mind at ease, and it's like that was a loaded.
No.
But
That's fucking great.
personal, as far as seeing myself in 3 to 5 years, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I don't know.
That's not a terrible thing.
I don't know because I'm in no rush to do the whole marriage and kids thing.
No.
It's not that I'm against it.
No.
You know, like,
everyone's talking about
I'm
marriage.
not closed-minded to it. Like I do
It's
love.
gotta be the right person.
I love babies. Like Mo's brother Ahmad, shout out Ahmad. He just had a little baby Gia. She's the cutest little thing, and when I'm holding her, my eyes light up, and I'm just she's so
That's
precious, so
interesting
cute.
for men because I'm not a huge fan of babies.
No,
They look like aliens. I will tell you if your baby's not cute, and
I love that.
there's like 75% of them who are not cute.
Yeah,
So that's just all I gotta say
Yeah,
on that. I'm
that's
not a huge
fine.
fan of babies, but if you popped out at 5,
that'd be great.
that's fine.
Yeah, but I think right now at least, I just want to really concentrate on. I don't want to be selfish, but in a way, I want to be
Well, we
selfish
all have
right
to be
now.
at some point in time.
I want to focus on because especially with my last relationship, like I haven't been able to give 110% to a person. I don't think you ever can, especially if you're driven to do something.
Which they would understand.
But I'm in a time in my life where like all this time now matters. It really matters. Like this is important, significant time for me right now as far as my future goes. So I want to really zero in and do all my groundwork now so that I could give myself to somebody more so. Like entirely. Like I want to be able to really. I want to be like the father that's like at the baseball games and at all that stuff. And I know if I do what I'm doing now,
you'll be able to.
I will be able to. You know, I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing now at 40. You know, like I'm just laying the groundwork now. So as far as personal goes, I couldn't really give you. That's a big triple question mark.
It's loaded.
Yeah,
It's
triple
loaded.
question mark, upside down question mark. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. So whatever life has in store for me, I guess.
That's fucking great. And that's a great way to cap it off. I'm gonna bring some over here because Zach brought me a hat, which I'm very happy about, and I'm gonna give him his official Built Different hoodie as well. And we're gonna do that. So I'll be right back. Give me 1 second here. Step off for a second. Is it dying?
Yeah, you're good though.
Almost.
My camera ran out of memory.
Oh, did it? Oh, so it stopped a minute ago?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're still on though?
Yeah, there you go.
So we got a Wiseowl Wood Company hat right here, which I'm actually very happy about because I wasn't expecting this. And everyone who comes on is going to get an official Built Different hoodie too. So we got Zach a Built Different hoodie. And I got the Wiseowl.
I appreciate it.
And I got to say, I appreciate my brother for being on the first episode. This has been a great episode.
Yeah,
and I knew it would
fun.
be. That's why I asked you. And the story, I didn't even get through all I wanted to get through, but you know what? You'll be on again. This won't be the last time.
Absolutely.
So
I'm looking forward to seeing, because I thought about that on the way here. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe 6 months from now, 8 months from now, 10 or 2 years from now, whatever it may be, when I'm back on, to see what has transpired in that time. Because you asked me, where do you see yourself? And I'm curious to see, like, I might have just went in a different direction. You know, like something huge in my life might have occurred where something I might have met a certain person or whatever, and my business went this way. I might have packed up and moved my stuff to a different state. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, like I have no idea